Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Shika.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, after months of taking a nosedive, Ghana's economy appears to be recovering. At least, that's what international ratings agency Fitch is telling us. We'll tell you about the latest ranking. Also, coming up, former President John Dramani Mahama to speak on the dodgy issue of political party financing as he does a fundraiser for his campaign. And later on Eyewitness News is a time of the year when Ghanaian Muslims observe the 30-day Ramadan alongside other Muslims of the world. But would it be tomorrow that they start fasting or the day after? We'll be hearing from the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Sharubutu, on this subject. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more of this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Producer price inflation for February 2023 falls to 50.8%.
That's in 50 minutes from Shika, bringing us the latest from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. In the Western region, we are in Takrady on Premier 100.5, Beach 105.5, and Sky Power 93.5. In Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Eastern region, on Right 90.1 FM in Somanya. In the Volta region, on Holy 98.5 FM in Aflau. In the Northern region, on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In Upper East region, on Word 88.3 FM in Zwarungu. And in the Upper West region, on Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. Do send us your messages on 0549 986 996. You can send tweets using the hashtag Citi Newsroom, tweet at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973. You can also watch us live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube. You are also live on citinewsroom.com and, of course, on LinkedIn. Do tune in regardless of which platform you have an interest in and follow the discussions here on Eyewitness News. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And the first big one has to do with the state of our economy. Fitch has upgraded Ghana's long-term local currency from RD to CCC. That's the story on citinewsroom.com. And the story in part says, international ratings agency Fitch has upgraded Ghana's long-term local currency issuer default rating to CCC from RD. The issue ratings on local currency bonds issued domestically that have not matured yet have also been upgraded to CCC from D. Fitch has affirmed Ghana's long-term foreign currency IDR at RD. Fitch typically does not assign outlooks to sovereigns with a rating of CCC plus below. The issue ratings on local currency notes issued domestically that had matured date of February 6, 2023, and for which the remaining due principal payments were made on 13 February, March 2023 have been withdrawn given the expiry of those notes. According to the ratings agency, the upgrade of Ghana's LC denominated debt follows the completion, effective 21 February 2023, of the domestic debt exchange program by the Republic of Ghana. Fitch viewed this transaction as a distressed debt exchange in a context of heightened fiscal pressures, with interest costs amounting to 54% of revenues in 1H22, which is a quarter, and a lack of access to international capital markets. The story goes down to give you a subheading says factors that accounted for Ghana's upgrade. And so it talks about payment on LC bonds resumed and then enhanced liquidity. So these are the two issues that have been explained. So does it mean that we are out of the woods? Does it mean that all things are good now? Professor Lord Mensah is an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Prof, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to our listeners out there.
Now, this is a ratings agency whose findings or ratings led to us describing our economy as junk status et al., and amongst other things. Now that it has given us some positive news, does it mean things are all uhuru?
Right, that's a very good question we need to ask. We need to also appreciate that the ratings that are given to countries are not static. They are dynamic. We should understand that, the rating agencies uses models which takes into consideration the economic parameters of the specific, agency or sovereign entity they're trying to rate. And if you look at the past few months, what is the biggest thing that has happened to our economy? Government has been able to restructure its domestic debt, which has reduced interest payments on our domestic debt. And as a result of that, if you should pick our interest liabilities on the public purse or public balance sheet, clearly you will come to appreciate that government obligations has reduced in a way. And that in itself gives some fiscal, space for a government. And I believe that will go a long way to build up into the ratings that just came out. So for me, I'm not surprised. The parameters that we had earlier and the main driver, which used to be our debt levels, has more or less toned down a bit. I'm not saying we are completely out of the woods. And that is what is, calling for the upgrade.
Okay, now in the past when the ratings agencies were downgrading our performance, it's almost like they called each other and agreed that for Ghana, things are bad, let's keep going down, down, down. And it brought us to the status or levels that we have gotten to. Now that we have seen an upgrade, is that an indication that it is going to be a trend where the economy will be recovering more and more? Do the fundamentals look like they can support an upgrade through and through?
If it continues the way we have it, and possibly we are able to get our external creditors to get a buy-in, to get a buy-in of our external creditors, i.e., if we're able to restructure external debt and then also get the IMF deal, it's going to improve drastically. And for all the various agencies to come out to downgrade us in a particular direction tells you that the various, rating agencies are using the same model. I mean, if for nothing at all, the input to the models are almost the same. So if one downgrade, obviously it is expected that the other ones will also downgrade. Not to say that they're looking on the other ones to downgrade, but the models are almost the same, and the parameters required to come out with a rating is almost the same.
Okay, a lot of the times accusation against government is that the size itself is big, there are a lot of expenditure that ought to be cut, and so on. That hasn't really happened, and yet we are seeing what we are seeing. Where's the magic coming from then? Is it solely because of the debt? Is it because of the debt restructuring? Just that?
Yes. That should tell you that if government will listen and, try as much as possible to reduce expenditure, that will improve. Probably the rating we find ourselves in will be even, lower. We could have even done better. So there's always room for improvement. Let's see what comes up in the next few weeks when, we are able to get the IMF program. We are able to get our external debt, restructuring, and then we are able to get the IMF program. Possibly the IMF program squeezing government to cut down expenditure. That will, improve the ratings further.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Prof.
You're welcome, sir.
That's Professor Lord Mensah. He's an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Now, the issue of Ghana's ratings in terms of how our economy is doing from the ratings agency is as economic as it is political. The politicians will usually use it for scoring goals here and there, and it's also the basis of a debate. So when we come back from this break, I'm going to hear from one of the politicians who have really been taking on the Akufo-Addo government over the failures at the ratings agencies, the Honorable Isaac Adongo. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Your Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Tell you guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that.
Yes, so
somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panzapa.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
One gunner, pet. Just one gunner.
Yo, bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make a do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Hey, yawa humache. Every morning you the tear calls, they browse. Actually, something they.
Hey, Tago, the way Tom make hot. I go best one if you no. If it be you where you get Vodafone one Ghana promo them out. 20 minutes talk time to call all networks. Where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bye. Anka you go do pass me safe, Anka. You dial star 530 hash. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone one Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and taste. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone, further together.
Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's go back to the issue of the Fitch ratings and speak to the Honorable Isaac Adongo. He is Member of Parliament for Bolga Central. and also a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. You can also call him the chief critic of the Akufo-Addo government's handling of the economy. Honorable Adongo, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you. Good evening, and good evening to your listeners.
So tonight, I'm just giving you a platform to say thank you, Ken Oforiatta. Thank you, Nana Akufo-Addo. You have done a great job. Congratulations.
Well, it's unfortunate. I wish I could say that because we all want this economy to improve. But what has happened is nothing to celebrate. Don't forget that this is a default rating of your local currency loans. It is not about the health of the economy. It's not about economic growth. It's not about the developments within the economy. It is about the fact that until the DDEP took place, the debt exchange program took place, your debts were at a level where your local currency bonds, the CD-denominated loans that you had, where you were defaulting on them, and there was a risk of further default. Now you have engaged your creditors and say, look, I cannot pay you. I want you to agree to a different term. And those different terms provide different profile and different maturities and different payment obligations at this point in time. So you have some room now to breathe. And because you have some room now to breathe, we can lift the rating on your potential default and actual default of your local currency loans. That cannot be something that you celebrate. It's not as if the rating has been lifted because you managed to pay your debt. The default that was coming, you averted it by paying, but it is that you actually admitted that you cannot pay. In some instances, you actually defaulted, and then you finally have to negotiate with your creditors, for them to give you some concessions and for them to accept to change the terms of the original agreement. It is on the basis of that they are saying, we cannot now say that your default will happen again in the nearest future. But even still, there are still elements of risk within your debt portfolio, even on the local market. That is why we still cannot give you a clean bill of health, and we still are placing you on CCC. CCC still reflects junk status with some limited remedies in respect of some aspects of your local debt. So it is not about the economy recovering. It's not about the economy improving. It's not about you being efficient in managing the economy. It's essentially about the fact that your creditors have given you a lifeline.
But Fitch itself acknowledges that this is because of the government's handling of the DDE. So surely there's some credit that ought to be given, for which reason this rating agency decides to promote us. And so even if it is not the general outlook of the economy, at least one aspect of it has been dealt with well.
How can it be dealt with when we are taking people's money, when you are not fulfilling your obligations? And as a country and as a sovereign, your pride is in your ability to pay your debt. And so when you then get to a point where people have to lose their money, and people have to lose their interest, and people have to postpone the time they will get their money, and will have to sacrifice to subsidize your economy, that is nothing to celebrate about. And so I do not understand how you would say that that is a positive thing to be celebrated, when all that you have done is basically to appropriate private property for public good.
All right, but I'm saying that these ratings agencies have served as a basis for lambasting the government, and clearly they know best, and I'm using that cautiously. That is why when they make a pronouncement, it's a pronouncement that is held as sacrosanct. Now, if they make this pronouncement that they have made now, it will amount to hypocrisy, don't you agree, not to say that what they have done now means there's positive, because from all indications, what they have said and done means we are doing something positive. You do not even want to accept. You are simply saying that this looks like a cosmetic thing that the government has done, and so it's not worthy of praise. But I'm saying that Fitch should not celebrate something cosmetic, should it?
So what are we saying here? What we are saying is that fundamentally you are not doing anything that is worthy of celebration. What you are simply doing is that you are denying poor people their money. You are denying pensioners all their money. You are denying people who need money now to pay the school fees of their children to hold on for the next 4 or 5 years. On the basis of that, you create room in your fiscal space and some liquidity to fund your budget. Of course, Fitch would interpret that to mean an achievement because then the problem of default would have been postponed. But to the ordinary Ghanaian who is suffering the brunt of this, who is losing the money, who is not getting the interest payment at full value, and who can no longer trust government when government comes saying, give me your money and I'll pay you the interest and I'll pay you the principal, that person will not see this as positive. And for us, as local interpreters of this economy, we don't see this to be anything to celebrate. Of course, remember that once we've gotten to the rock bottom, we can only go up. We can't take further. So there's a sense in which the ratings would improve. But the ratings will not improve because we have done something fundamental. It is simply because we are at a rock bottom and we can't go further down. We can only look up.
Well, before we go, your good friend Kenneth Oyata is in China. Any news on how he's doing trying to get the Chinese on board? You were of the view that nothing was going to come out. The Chinese were not going to play ball. He's gone there now. It appears that he may come back with some good news. What are you picking up?
Well, my flight is entering China anytime in point. I can go to China today if I want. It's about what you went there to do and what you come home with. You don't appear in China in 5 days, 1 week, and return with a dense cancellation. So the fact that he's in China, you may never know. He's probably just a tourist there. But will he come back with anything that would solve our problem within this short period? I believe that these meetings are going to be more exploratory. They are going to be meetings to gauge each other's mood and to be able to plan the strategy going forward in dealing with each party. And so we should not be expecting too much from this trip to China at this point in time. Probably he will take a day or two off to rest and come back.
Well, that's not what the ministry, through the deputy, has communicated to us. So I don't know. But let me bring you another story that I've just noticed. There's a story making the rounds that Ghana has missed the board meeting for March at the IMF. Do you know anything about that, and what does that mean?
Well, you remember that I had told you in one of the interviews that you granted me.
That was last week, Thursday, yes.
Yeah, just last week. I made it clear that a lot of the prior actions have not been met. And because the prior actions are not met, what will the staff recommend to the board? There's nothing to recommend to the board because all the issues they raise as the prior actions to go to the board are outstanding. Beyond the fiscal measures that you can say are controlled by Ghana, the majority of the external debt restructuring are outside of our hands, and we haven't made any progress in that front. And so if they were to table out an agenda for the next meeting, what would they be discussing? And I told you that the worst case that could happen was for Ghana to be considered for an approval in principle, which would then mean that we just are giving you some PR gimmick to carry along and give some assurances to the economy. But then the difficult task of meeting the prior actions have to be concluded before you can actualize that agreement. As it is now, it is quite clear that we cannot meet the timelines, and it was quite obvious that the talk about March was far-fetched, and I don't see anything that is a surprise. We had always expected this. We knew for a fact that the government was just managing expectations. And I told you that the reason the city is stable now is essentially because we have suspended the payment of our offshore debt obligations. And because we have done that, the exchange rate, the forex that we would have used to do that is what we are sprinkling around the economy. And if we do not secure a deal in good time, when we finish sprinkling that and we don't get any forex, the economy will be in for a very, very difficult time. We need to encourage the ministry to engage much faster and involve better experienced hands within our local economy to assist them achieve something as quickly as possible.
While you are doing that and hoping the government does that, you are withholding something very important. The president has nominated someone to be a minister of state at the finance ministry for some reason, and someone to handle our trade ministry, and also someone to handle our Greek ministry. These are very key sectors. It appears Parliament is slowing on whether or not it will approve these gentlemen. Is it that you have not bothered yourself to consider the report of the appointments committee, or the committee has not brought its report for deliberation? What's happening with these three people who have been brought to lead these critical areas? Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Minister of Agriculture.
How many ministers does Akufo-Addo have? Do you remember? even in the absence of these. Do you remember the number of ministers he currently has?
I will not answer that. Please continue.
Yeah, he has such a huge number of ministers. And as a matter of fact, for each of the portfolios that we have mentioned, there's a caretaker minister for those portfolios. It's not as if there are no ministers oversighting those ministries. And the fact that we are very apprehensive that this presented a very good opportunity for government to start the signaling of expenditure cuts, because he can simply move ministers around, collapse some ministries, and reassign the current ministers to handle these portfolios if they are still necessary in terms of his restructuring of the ministry. The fact that he thinks that these 5 ministers out of a host of close to 100 ministers is a problem should tell you that our problems are not going to get away, because he doesn't need this 5. All he needs to do is to reassign ministers within the current portfolios and collapse some of the ministries in order that he gives Ghana a chance to cut down on our expenditure. So he's not ready to do that. He still wants to live the life he's been living that brought us to this point.
So they will not be approved?
Well, that is not a decision of the minority. That is a decision of the House. So we shouldn't be creating the impression that the minority as a caucus has the ultimate power to determine the fate of these ministers. It is a collective decision of the House. And when the question is put, a decision will be made. As we speak now, the question has not been put, and no one can be blamed for the question not being put.
Thank you for speaking to us. As Honorable Isaac Adongo, he's MP for Bolga Central. He's with the Accounts Committee of Parliament. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's talk about the Electricity Company of Ghana now, ECG. Nashika, okay, we'll do that after this break.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
So we'll talk about the Electricity Company of Ghana, but that will be before after these stories from Nashika Season.
Former Kumasi Mayor Kojo Bonsu has filed his nomination at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Mr. Bonsu is seeking to lead the NDC as flag bearer of the party in the 2024 general elections. He's expected to face off former President John Dramani Mahama and former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo. Here is Kojo Bonsu speaking to journalists after filing his nomination.
Having time to come and receive me today, I appreciate all that you've done. It's one party, the NDC. We have to do things together, and we have to make sure that the common enemy is who we are all looking for. It's not any individual in the party, so that we can go and break the golden fleece come 2024.
You have the former Kumasi Mayor and NDC flag bearer hopeful Kojo Bonsu. Moving on, executives of the National Democratic Congress NDC in the Bwakwa South constituency are calling on the Eastern Regional Police Command to investigate and arrest persons who attacked and robbed a parliamentary aspirant yesterday. The aspirant Solomon Nana Frimpong was attacked by some 3 persons who were on a motorbike while on his way to the constituency office to file his nomination. The 3 inflicted machete wounds on his arm and ribs and later made away with a sum of 20,000 Ghana cedis from his car. The constituency executives who have condemned the attack want the police to ensure that justice is served. NDC Bwakwa South constituency secretary Ofori Akins spoke to Citi News on the incident.
Yesterday, somewhere around 6 p.m., then the constituency executive had a call that one of our parliamentary aspirants by name Solomon Nana Frimpong has been attacked by some hoodlums on his way to the constituency office to file his nomination. Unfortunately, we visited Chebi Government Hospital, and it was true that he was lying on the bed. We found several forms of injuries on his body parts, most especially the left and the right arm. And also, we experienced some major wound on his stomach. According to sources, he was on his way from Chebi Amanfrom, that's where he resides, to file his nomination forms at the party office Chebi. So on his way, then he met three gangs on a motorbike. They yielded at him, honorable. So he thought maybe it might be one of the party members. So he alighted on his way, and unfortunately for him, he was attacked by those hoodlums. They went to his car with machetes, attacked him, and took away a sum of 20,000 Ghana cedis from his car. He was found restless in the car and was taken to Kibi Government Hospital by some good Samaritans. Yeah, we are calling on the police. That's the Abokwa South Municipal Police Commander and his entourage to, as a matter of urgency, arrest those culprits so that they bring them before the law court. Constituency Communication Bureau and the entire constituency executives condemn such barbaric attacks and therefore calling on all people to desist from any deviant act ahead of these parliamentary primaries. Actually, we don't know whether it was some conspiracy or it was he was being attacked by the armed robbers on his way to the party office. But how are we going to know? That's what we are praying, that the constituency or the municipal police commander and his entourage will work assiduously in order to bring the culprits to law.
Ofori Akins is the Bwakwa South Constituency Secretary in the Eastern Region. Now let's head to the Ashanti region because a trader at the new KGTR market who was arrested on Tuesday for setting a fire to cook within the facility after last week's fire incident has been arrested and subsequently granted bail. Her arrest comes after authorities disclosed that last week's fire incident was caused by a trader who was cooking. According to the leadership of the traders, upon realizing she was cooking, they quickly handed her over to the police and was detained overnight, after which she was released the next morning. The president of the Federation of the Kumasi Traders, Nana Akwesi Prempeh, spoke to Citi News on the issue.
The market was reopened to the general public and then the traders. But unfortunately for us, around 11 a.m., we had a call from one of our members that a certain lady has set fire on again. Invariably, we went to that place to check whether it's true or not. We went there, and the lady was heating up okra soup. She's a dear wholesaler. She tells us that the oil has died also. She wanted to heat up there. We gave up the lady to the police. They detained her overnight, and this morning when we came, they've released her on condition of bail. They said they are still investigating who gave her the order, who gave her the permission to even come and sell within the market, and even went to go on to even set up a fire in the market. She has not been given any document, any permission by the management to sell it. She has no allocation paper to sell within the market.
Nana Akwesi Prempeh is the president of the Federation of Kumasi Traders. Meanwhile, traders at the market have welcomed the installation of meters for individual shops by authorities of the market. The traders have for years raised several concerns with a centralized meter billing system used previously at the market. Speaking to Citi News, the General Secretary of the Combined Traders Association, Ruben Ahmed, disclosed that the Electricity Company of Ghana has provided 2,000 out of the 8,000 meters the traders requested, with a promise that the rest will be supplied in batches.
About after a back and forth on the meter issue, about a fortnight ago, ECG invited the executives of KGTR Combined Traders to a meeting where they announced to us that 2,000 meters, they've received 2,000 meters out of the 8,000 that they ordered for KGTR market, and that they were informing us and then they were telling us what we were supposed to do for them to come and fix the meters. As for fixing of the meters, it is the prerogative and the work of the ECG. Nobody will have to do that. So therefore, what we are left to do now is to do pre-installation works, that's fixing meter boards, separating the cables for each shop so that we inform Energy Commission. Energy Commission comes to check. Then they give ECG the go ahead to fix the meters. Now, the 8,000 meters are supposed to come in 3 different badges. The first badge of 2,000 are in here. They are ECG in Kumasi here. We are waiting to finish the work. By the time they finish installing the 2,000 meters, we expect the second badge in, and then the third badge will also come. It is after the third badge is in town and they fixed all the meters. That is when you have a debate between the ECG management and then traders, and then officially the prepaid meters will be commissioned, and then the bulk meter will be taken away. So they will be fixing the 2,000, but they will not be connecting to the national grid until they finish fixing. If they do not do that, what it means that the prepaid meters will be reading whilst the bulk meter will be reading. That will be a double reading of bills. So you wait until all the meters are fixed, and then you have a debate of ECG management and the traders. And then officially, the meters will be commissioned.
That was the General Secretary of the Combined Traders Association, Reuben Ame.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
For Pepsodent, smiles are one of the most important things we have. The problem is, globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent, with maximum cavity protection, helps to prevent the formation of cavities. Pepsodent, because every smile matters. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. If you've been following the news, you would have heard that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has been in the news because of an exercise that it has been undertaking. Now, that exercise is under the auspices of the managing director of the company, Amadu Mahama, who is joining us on the line now. Mr. Mahama, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. I'll speak to you briefly, but before then, kindly indulge me. I want to play a soundbite from your manager for external communication, Leila Abubakar. She's been speaking about the latest exercise that was conducted in the Tema region. So if you do not mind, kindly let us listen to that.
Okay.
The instruction from head office was to take at least 20 million Ghana cedis as at yesterday. We realized that some of the checks were post-dated, and so we couldn't accept them. So we've just reached a conclusion with them this morning. They've paid 20 million, or let's assume that by the end of the day, the 20 million should have reflected in ECG's bank account. But we're on our way to disconnect their facilities. They've made 50% payments now, and then the rest of the money will be paid next week.
So that's Leila Abubakar. She's External Communications Manager for Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. She was speaking in reference to a company known as B5 Plus. It is a company in Tema, and we are told that the company had to pay 20 million cedis to settle part of its 42 million cedi debt owed the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, this is one of many exercises the ECG has been carrying out. Mr. Mahama is still on the line. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about this plan of yours that you have been executing. I recall a few months ago, you started that campaign, you sort of halted, and now you are back. Is that your new revenue mobilization plan?
I would say sometimes when you start something, it's always best to take a breather and look around your surroundings and then re-strategize. You know, initially when we started, the whole conversation was about, have you spoken to state agencies? Are the state agencies paying? So I said, okay, so we needed to level out the playing field. I can say on authority now that less than 10% of the 5.7 billion owed ECG has nothing to do with state agencies, but more so to do with private individuals and industry Ghana. And that is what we are aiming to collect.
So the last time your campaign was focused on the state institutions, I think you even went to the House of Parliament or so.
Yes.
So now you are not focusing on state institutions, looking at private companies. Is that what you're doing?
So right now is both. It cuts across both. Everybody has come to the table. We were at Parliament. Parliament has done tremendously well. I'd like to say a big thank you to the top brass of Parliament, including the Right Honourable Speaker. I really appreciate what they've done in showing leadership. The Parliament has settled out of its 13 million, 8.5. And what is left now is their current bill, and is being processed as we speak. In the case of other state institutions, I again like to take this medium to thank the Chief of Staff of the Republic of Ghana, the Office of the President himself, the Executive Secretary to President Nana Santibedi, to the President himself for the prompt discussions we've had concerning state debt and how quickly they've come to solving those problems and making those payments. Again, I would like to thank the support of my minister, because without all of these backings, you know that carrying out such an exercise, especially when you're discussing issues concerning huge multinational companies who are owing, if you don't take care and you don't have the right backing, you'd have difficulty in retrieving the funds. But the support has been tremendous. The good people of Ghana have received as well, and we can't continue to thank you better. We really appreciate you guys.
These debts that you are trying to clear, how old are they? Do they date way back to 10 years or maybe 5 years or 1 year?
They start from last year August. Last year August till date.
Okay, so it's a recent debt, and you're mentioning these huge figures within a period of just 6 months.
Yes. Okay. So you see, all these companies are known as special load tariff customers, the huge companies. And these electricity is a raw material that they use in processing or in manufacturing. And it's cheaper, but in as much as they use it, there's no obligation for them to pay. It's more like if you don't come forward, you don't get paid. Because why would you owe as much as you owe? Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. You owe that kind. You owe that kind of money. You don't even want to pay on account. Some people, in the case of residential customers, they say, you haven't sent us a bill in a very long time. We haven't received a bill. But you have received a bill before. So it's in your interest to keep paying what you see on your last bill until your meter is read and the reconciliation is done. Then you can start shifting to your new bill amount. But most people just sit down and they don't pay anything. And it's also not fair to the prepaid customer.
I'll come back to the companies because you mentioned the private customers. That statement you just made, I find it a bit worrying. You were saying to me that if I have a meter which is malfunctioning and has been shut down by ECG workers who have said that they're going to get me a new meter, or if the meter is not being read by an ECG officer, I should get up on my own and say that last month it was 100 cedis I paid, so this time I'm going to pay 100. Is that how you want us to do it?
My brother, yes, because you have an account number and you have a meter associated to your name. You understand?
So even if you don't tell me how much I owe, I should just go and say, I'm going to pay 100.
Were you not using the power already? So are you trying to also say in the reverse that without the meter and you consuming, how should we bill you? So you should consume for free? Is that what you're saying?
No, I have no problem with paying, but I don't know how I can pay without a bill.
We are saying you can average your own bill. You are in your own home. You know how much you consume in a month, or you know how much you consume in a week. Be a responsible citizen and pay on account. There will be a proper reconciliation at the proper time, and then what is due you will be given back to you. But to say that you are not going to pay anything at all and then you enjoy the service, you're not being fair to, let's say, a prepaid customer who has to prepay what they are going to consume. I must be the first person to admit that we have challenges. We have challenges, and all of these challenges are because we are not receiving the requisite revenue. Let's not forget one thing. We purchase the electricity in dollars and we sell in cedi. There's already a shortfall there. So until we all sit up and be counted for the little that we have consumed, we pay, and it's not being passive. How are we going to solve the problem?
Okay.
So if we start making excuses, I haven't received the bill, you haven't received the bill, so you would consume, then who would pay for you?
No, I would ask the ECG to make sure it expedites the plan to come and give me my bill so that I can
the
pay.
The expedition of the plan costs money. Where are we going to get the money from when you're owing?
So you don't have money to bill me?
My brother, if the money were to be there, why would you think we would be giving you the kind of service that we are giving? You demand the best not service. What you're asking for is top-notch service. Yet we are owed 5.7 billion Ghana cedis, the equivalent of $500 million.
Whose fault is that? You have people who...
It is not my...
Okay, so help me. Mr. Mama, help me. Give me a second. I see Ghana Water Company provide motorbikes to people who wear jackets of GWCL, and they move around and check the meters, and then they bring you a bill and all of that. If you are defaulting, they disconnect you. Why don't you do the same thing? Why do you have to ask me to volunteer? Because people will not voluntarily go and pay money for something they can't even cost themselves. Oh?
You see, what we are doing now is to find excuses for something that is inexcusable. The moment the light goes off, we all know ECG. But you have power running in your house. Because a bill hasn't been sent to you. And you've been consuming power. You have consumed before. Your meter is faulty. Or let's say you're even a postpaid customer. You have received a last bill before. My brother, so you don't pay. Finally, the bill is red. It's 10,000 cedis. You can't afford it. At the time that it is red and it's given to you that it's 10,000 that you can't afford, should the company allow you to still enjoy, knowing very well that you can't pay for the old one and you might possibly not be able to pay for the new one?
Okay.
We need to help ourselves for the company to help us too. You see, it's very easy for us to point fingers at somebody's inefficiency. We are the first to accept that we are inefficient. We are the first to accept that we have problems. We are the first to accept that we have challenges. But we beg you as a customer. We just have to plead with you as a customer to assist the company. Because if this thing falls, it affects all of us. Again, that's why I keep saying, let's not politicize the power sector. Because an electricity bill doesn't have party colors. Let's just do the right thing. We have prepaid customers that are prepaying their consumption. You're a postpaid customer, let's say even in the case of the businesses and agencies, when they prepare their budget for the year, there's a line item for operations that says electricity, just like your radio station. You cost it as a line item. So what is the problem that if you've costed something and you cost it based on an estimate? So after you've estimated, where do you put the money?
Okay.
Why don't you just pay?
Mr. Mama, why don't you simply give people prepaid meters so that you pay Jinahoji sort of, back for, money for hand, back for ground, so that you don't have to go through this whole stress.
But getting prepaid meters costs money again. 5.7 billion Ghana cedis, almost 500 million.
Can't you take a loan?
Hey, take a loan now that we are in the situation we are in now, that every debt that SOEs collect, you put it on the books of what?
On the government.
Of government of Ghana.
Don't worry, the government's debt is big enough. You can add yours. So far as it's for good.
That would be reckless.
No, it's not reckless. If you are going to fix a bigger problem, and that's what is going to cost the solution, it's fine.
Look, in fairness, if we are able to collect the money out there, and everybody is honest enough to pay what we are due, we should raise enough to be able to close the gap as quickly as possible. All of these things, it's not fair that you are owed almost $500 million. Then you are going to the bank to borrow. When you haven't demonstrated that you can collect, then you don't have any moral right being where you are. You understand what I mean? I need us we need to work together. We need to assist each other to get to where we want to get this country to. Again, the blame game needs to stop at some point.
Someone wants me to ask you who is paying these workers who are going around doing the disconnection. Is it an ECG task force, or you've gone to contract people to come and do that job for you?
Staff. Why would I go and contract people from somewhere else? I'll take that. That question is a little insulting to actually the staff of ECG.
Maybe you went to hire people to do that for you. That shouldn't be a problem.
My brother, we agreed as a company that everybody's job description has changed from top to bottom. We are all going out. and we've all gone out. My office is closed. I don't have business with anybody till the 20th of April is over. So on the 21st, if you have business with ECG or any conversation, you would find me in the office. Every single person from top to bottom is out. So why would we go and contract people when we don't have money, when we have the hands?
Let's talk about
all administrative staff should assist.
Let's talk about what you've been doing now from top to bottom. You yourself inclusive, you are an appointee, or well, you are a political appointee. And we do know that in this country, political appointees, even though they are appointed to be independent, sometimes have difficulties doing that. Are people coming after you for this job you're doing? I mean, you have. Let me quote Kennedy Point. You got the nerves.
Is that what you got nerves?
Yeah, you got nerves.
I do. Yeah, I do, and I'm demonstrating it. Look, these things before you start, you speak to everybody. You let them understand. All of that has been done. All the requisite support we've given. If the office of the president has done its best to settle their debt, and then also come up with a plan for what is left, and has showed commitment, then what is the excuse of industry Ghana?
My job online is reporting that you say people have been calling you, asking you to hold fire. Where is that call coming from then?
Those phone calls are not coming from the top. What I said was that I'm getting phone calls from people saying, "Oh, don't touch this person. Oh, stop." I don't work for them. I work for the good people of Ghana. I work for the betterment of the good people of Ghana. I work for the betterment of the distribution sector of the electricity company of Ghana.
So so these are not entities calling you, or just friends, or so these people who are calling you are not powerful?
The posting they put out there was friends, broke. We are not going to, when we do this, one of the things that get lost in doing this is the import of the exercise. Why pay attention to people like that? Maybe they haven't seen the magnitude. So now, my brother, we are going on with the exercise. It's from 20 to 20, operation 20 to 20. Let's all assist. Let's do our best. Let's close the gap as quickly as possible. Then when the gap is closed very well, you can demand the top-notch service. That is where we want to get to as a company. Isn't it disturbing, the amount of money out there? $500 million equivalent in CD. In this Ghana.
Hurry up and collect the money for us. It may help. We may not need to go to IMF when you are done collecting that money.
You see, my brother, because whatever we go to IMF for, they'll definitely have to use some to pay, power sector debt. So the responsibility is on all of us. It's a shared responsibility. It's now time for us to stand up and be counted. I really appreciate all the effort from the media houses. The support has been massive. And we are still going to go on. We'll be reporting figures to you guys as we go on. And please, we need your support. We can't thank you. We can't thank you.
We are happy, but we also want to remind you that the money you are collecting, please put it to use so that we can see it reflecting. At least try and get.
You would definitely.
I've been waiting for my prepaid meter like forever, and I know there are thousands or millions of other people who are waiting for their prepaid meters. They are told to go and come and go and come.
You are in thousands. You are not in millions. I know our new service connection requests are in excess of about 50,000. Yes, we've had a discussion on a loss reduction program with the meter manufacturing, the local meter manufacturing companies, and it's about to roll out. By next month, we will have a chunk of those meters ready to go out. So that is why we're going to the point where we need to go out there and get the money so we can pay for these things. We cannot go contracting and hoping that manna will fall from somewhere. We have to go out there and do the work. We are trying to find a way as a company to sustain this exercise into the foreseeable future. Maybe if the last week of every month or maybe the first week of every month, the whole office goes off for everybody to go out there to do this until whenever we can regularize, so be it. We have to be accountable to the good people of Ghana, and that's the plan.
Very well. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you too, and have a good evening.
That's Samodubik Mahama. He is MD, Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka. In Accra. When we come back, Shika will bring us the latest in the world of business, and then we have Point Blank coming up. Please stay with us.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Shika. Let's settle for the details. Recent data from the Ghana Statistical Service (GSS) indicates that the producer price inflation (PPI) for the month of February 2023 fell marginally to 50.8% from the 52.1% recorded in last month. The producer price inflation is the average prices of goods and services received by domestic producers for their production activities. This figure represents a 1.7 percentage point decrease in producer inflation relative to the rate recorded in January 2023. The month-on-month change in the PPI between January and February 2023 was 7.0%. Per the data from the GSS, the producer price inflation in the industry-less construction sector decreased to 57.9% in February 2023 from 58.8% in January 2023. Also, the rate in the construction sector increased to 21.1% in February 2023 to 20.4% in January 2023. In the services sector, the rate increased from 10.6% in January 2023 to 13.4% in February 2023. However, information and communication activity recorded the lowest rate of 4.5% in February 2023. Moving on, the Upstream Petroleum Chamber is calling on the review of the Growth and Sustainability Levy seeking to be introduced by the government. The Chamber explains that the levy comes as an additional tax which has the propensity to stifle the growth of local oil service companies in the country. The levy forms part of government efforts at raising domestic revenue in the 2023 budget. The chief executive of the chamber, David Ampofo, has been speaking to Citi Business News on the matter.
I completely understand that, government has revenue needs at the moment. There's no question about that at all. I mean, what it is, whether the way to do it is to sort of introduce a whole new, tax on the companies that are already struggling. It's very important that you understand that ultimately, when business is thriving, that's when you really generate resources because it has a multiplier effect. The industry at the moment is not necessarily something you want to say is thriving. Not at all, okay? I mean, there's not a lot of activity offshore. And you know that when the place is busy, all the local service companies as well are busy. There's work for everybody. There's about 22 companies in the chamber. 8 of them are international oil companies. The rest are all Ghanaian service companies, many of whom sort of rely, obviously, on the contracts offshore by the large international oil companies because they provide support service. So they will be the first to tell you that this is tough for them. So it's very important that we understand the impact of this, that it can completely, put several businesses out of business, so to speak. And that is something that we need to be very careful with. The industry has a lot of potential, but we need to sort of do the right things and not sort of weaken it.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Upstream Petroleum Chamber, David Ampofo. In other news, the Federation of Africa Medical Equipment Disposables and Devices Manufacturers and Suppliers is calling for a review of the taxes and duties on medical equipment and supplies to check the high cost of these items, which are crucial to healthcare delivery. According to the CEO of the Federation, Anthony Amaka, this development is a major disincentive for industry players while overburdening consumers. He spoke during a press conference on the complete International Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Exhibition in Ghana.
The other charges such as FDA inspection fee of 1.5%, port handling of 4%, clearing charges, and etc. are building the cost of our healthcare delivery and is becoming so much of a burden to the citizenry. And we pray that the government could do something about. We know we are in hard time, but there's the need if we actually value the health of the people, because it's the health of the people that will create the wealth for the nation. These taxes need to be looked at. The Federation is really available to collaborate with the government and other stakeholders to harmonize taxes, charges, and fees on import duties on medical devices and equipment. Sometimes the hospitals may buy some medical equipment or devices, but when you are there's time for you to service the equipment or medical, the component, sometimes the cost of the component alone, plus the taxes that you have to pay, makes it unaffordable at various facilities.
That was the CEO of the Africa Medical Equipment, Disposables and Devices Manufacturers and Suppliers, Anthony Aneka. Now, finally, stakeholders in the manufacturing sector are stressing the importance of Ghanaians buying locally manufactured products as it is key in strengthening the economy. Speaking at a stakeholder engagement between management of Nexans Cable Metal Ghana Limited and members of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, the managing director of Nexans Ghana, Eunice A. Lalim, said it is critical for Ghanaians to end the over-reliance on imported products and embrace locally made goods as it meets international standards, and also it will help generate revenue for the country to ensure a more robust economy.
I think when I see defend made in Ghana, humbly it's not next of Ghana topic. We are small within the frame of the total Ghanaian economy. We are a small piece. If every small piece is putting effort together, we'll be able to succeed in that. The made in Ghana is something important for our country. But on the aspects, when we use made in Ghana, it can be for agriculture. We talk always about the rice, which rice to use in the canteen, and the imported. It's an example, you know. We should favor the local production, because behind every local production, we have Ghanaian family. And behind every Ghanaian employee, you have a household of probably 3, 4, 5 persons. And behind this household, there are the grandparents and so on. So when we consume local production, that means we are boosting the social dimension in the country.
Eunice A. Lalim is the General Manager for Nexans Sub-Saharan Africa. And that's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News, which was powered by citybusinessnews.com. My name is Shika Caesar. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
There's something special happening at Heritage Christian College. Their bustling campus is right in the heart of Amasaman, just behind the Olympic Stadium. And it will amaze you what they are doing there. Heritage Christian College is churning out academic excellence with their comprehensive range of degrees, including Bachelor of Business Administration programs, IT, and theology. Don't forget to ask about their professional programs and short courses. What makes Heritage special? Heritage Christian College takes the academic experience further than ever with 1 laptop per student, flexible fee payment, entrepreneurial training with financial support, all delivered by a caring faculty working to develop your character and your intellect. Admissions are in progress, so call today on 054 7777 731 and get accepted. For more information, go to hcuc.edu.gh. Heritage Christian College, a university educating compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Oh, Jack, now, where are you in a hurry to?
Charlie, I'm going to Imperial to do my car insurance.
What's happening there? Because Info and Yaba also told me they're going there this morning for their car insurance.
Masa, you haven't heard. Now, the Imperial is the name in insurance in Ghana here.
Really?
Share. Imperial General is saying, come insure your vehicle with them at any of their branches or agents or even online from now till the end of March 2023 and get yourself handsome rewards, fuel coupons, special souvenirs, gift vouchers, and many more. And here's the catch. During this reward period, you will also get a free 1-year life insurance cover in addition to your motor insurance cover.
What the wow! So does it include with the taxi drivers and the e-taxis?
Hey, everybody qualifies. So just come insure your car and you are done. Call 0302 788 955 for further details. T's and C's apply. Imperial General Assurance. Solid protection.
The Heritage Month on Citi is on. Allow us to take you on a journey to rediscover our rich heritage and traditions through the art of storytelling on the Heritage On Air series. In this season of the Heritage On Air series, we will explore aspects of our cultural legacy that focuses on our people, food, places, and music. Join us as we delve into the narratives surrounding our various ethnic groups and historical figures of interest. We will bring you conversations dedicated to special exposés on our different indigenous meals and historical facts about the food we eat. We will also take you on a visit to historical places of significance and highlight stories linked to our colonial governance interspersed with a celebration of our Ghanaian security services. Finally, we'll walk you through the evolution with a detailed appreciation of our Ghanaian musical prowess from antiquity. Let's make a date on Citi TV and Citi FM from the 1st to the 31st of March 2023 as we bring you the stories that reflect the diversified culture of our people, food, places, and music on the Heritage On Air series. The Heritage On Air series is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM and is sponsored by the National Lotteries Authority. Ghana is a country that's full of historical antecedents and rich cultural heritage. What is a rich cultural heritage without soul food? And what is soul food without a touch of ethnicity? And what is ethnicity if it's not from your village? This season of all things Ghanaian is upon us, and we are here to celebrate an aspect of our Ghanaianness with the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar, happening live from the 25th to the 26th of March 2023 at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Come, let's treat ourselves to delectable, authentic Ghanaian cuisine from the northern, the middle, and the southern zones of the country that reflect our true cultural diversity. While at it, we'll be jamming to genuine Ghanaian music amidst games, competitions, storytelling, and so much more. Interested vendors of indigenous foods are invited to register. Don't let this be another missed opportunity. Call 0205 973 973 to book a stand and be part of the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar 2023. Anyamime, the country make hoto. So come, let's enjoy some good food, resounding music, heartfelt camaraderie, and remind ourselves why Ghana is still our home at the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar on the 25th and the 26th of March 2023 at the forecourt of the AMA from 8 a.m. each day. The Back to Your Village Food Bazaar is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM and is sponsored by Voltic Ghana Limited, Malta Guinness, Africa Business Bureau, Fortune Emopa, and Pan-African Savings and Loans.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Tonight on Point Blank, President John Dramani Mahama is scheduled to launch a fundraiser and also speak about political party financing. We're waiting for the feed from the UPSA where he's going to have that address. When we have a clear feed, we'll be bringing it to you. But before then, Ramadan is an important pillar in Islam. It is that month-long fasting by Muslims across the world. It is that time of the year where Muslims begin fasting. But it is not straightforward. The fast could start tomorrow or the day after, and that would also determine how many days we're going to fast for, and so on. So we've called up the National Chief Imam because people keep wondering, when are Muslims starting their fast? The PRO of the National Chief Imam is Sheikh Armi Al-Shaib. He's joined us on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
When are Muslims starting the fast? Is it tomorrow? Is it the day after? Please explain to us how the calculations are done.
Great. Just like you have said, it's not that straight. According to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, that fast when you sight the moon and break your fast when you sight the moon. If it becomes cloudy, the reason for which you are unable to sight the moon, then complete the reckoning of the month of Sha'ban, which is the month that immediately precedes Ramadan. Count it to 30 days, and then automatically the next day becomes the first day of Ramadan. Because of disagreements and discrepancies in calculations and so many other things. In Ghana, for some decades back, we decided to do what we call the Ramadan Conference. At the Ramadan Conference, all the 16 regions of the country are represented by imams or their secretaries and the chiefs. And then the days of the Sha'ban month are calculated to determine when we hope to see the new moon of Ramadan. The outcome of this year's Ramadan conference indicates that today, the 22nd of March, corresponds with the 29th day of Sha'ban. So it is appropriate for us to make an attempt to sight the moon. If there is any report from any part of the country well authenticated that truly the moon has been sighted, the Chief Imam will accordingly make an official announcement and instruct all Muslims in the country to begin their fasting tomorrow. The alternative formula, as I have indicated, if no report is received from any region or any part of the country about the sighting of the moon, the Chief Imam will go ahead and complete the reckoning of the days of Sha'ban to 30 days, in which case, then automatically will begin on Friday. What it means is that if we do not see the moon today, we will count tomorrow as the 30th day of Sha'ban. Automatically, Friday becomes then the first day of Ramadan. That has been the formula which Ghana has been using over the years. It is intended to unify our front when it comes to the sighting of the moon. This is also not a contradiction of Islamic teachings. There are different Islamic schools of thought. We in Ghana here, we agree with the school of thought that say that each country can depend on its own sighting of the moon and then determine when to begin the fasting. Because we wanted to unite our front, that has been our formula over the years. As I speak to you, I'm at the residence of the Chief Imam, together with other functionaries of the Ramadan conference, so that we are waiting and making contacts across all the 16 regions of Ghana. If we ever receive any report or well authenticated that the moon has been sighted, Chief Imam will tonight make an official pronouncement about it at the beginning of fasting tomorrow. If alternatively no report is received, Chief Imam will accordingly also instruct that we complete the counting of the month of days of Shaban to 30 days, automatically then Friday becomes the first day of Ramadan. That is the Ghanaian formula.
I see. How long do Ghanaian Muslims have to wait for tonight to hear from the chief imam? Do you have a time by which you would say that there is no point waiting? Tomorrow is not a day for fast and that we have not seen the moon. By what time would Ghanaian Muslims be certain? Because before we start the fast tomorrow, the Taraweeh prayers ought to be had tonight. Now, if that information does not come, the Taraweeh prayers are in limbo. How should Muslims maneuver that?
The Taraweeh is what we understand to be a supererogatory kind of Ramadan prayers. In fact, if you are unable to do it for a certain reason, it does not spoil your Ramadan fast for any reason. Taraweeh prayer can also be delayed. It can also be delayed. So if you are unable to do it very early in the night, it can be done at a later time. But by this, I'm not suggesting that people should not do the Taraweeh. But for us to be able to do so, we should authenticate any report that we receive about the sighting of the moon. So we are looking between now and let's say 8 o'clock, 8:30, because the contacts, we are making the contacts to and fro. We are expecting the regions to call us, and then we are also calling them. So it's a two-way kind of traffic we are using across each region to do so, and giving chance for any district where the district chief imam has reported sighting of the moon. We do a lot of authentication before, because we don't want to misinform the Muslim public in the country. So our process of authentication is so important for us before we'll announce anything, especially so when it is the chief imam who makes the pronouncement.
So what's the advice to imams and muazzins listening to us tonight? Should they go ahead and pray as though they are going to start the Ramadan tomorrow while they wait for signal from the chief imam's office, or they wait for signal from the chief imam's office before preparing their communities for a possible fast tomorrow or otherwise?
Once there is no certainty for us in the country now, once there's no certainty about the sighting of the moon, then our advice is that we should not go ahead and do the Taraweeh and wait until we get the official announcement from the eminent national chief imam, so that it is a challenge for us that we are trying to address. Let me advise all our people who are listening to me that our wish is that every year we will get more and more united in our fronts in the way we begin the fasting and in the way we end it. But because we are using the lunar calendar, it has never happened that the whole of the world have come to agreement on the sighting of the moon. Even in the Middle East, among the Arab Muslim countries, you find one country will announce we have sighted the moon, another country have not sighted it, they will not begin their fasting. There has never been any agreement, the whole on the global level of Islam, where we have all sighted the moon on the same day. There are times in one region alone, there can be some differences because of the calculations that are used, and then the geographical differences as to when we are sighting the moon. So I will advise my brothers and sisters in the country, we have a leader. It is only appropriate that we show obedience to the leader, we show him respect, so that under his leadership, we get more united and get better organized. I think that in Islam, that is the best way to go. Let's all keep listening, and hopefully, if no report comes, as I have indicated, the national television will be at the chief imam's residence. We will use the occasion to announce to the whole of the country.
Hello, Sheikh? Sheikh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, okay. So, a member of parliament for Esuatifi South, who is a Muslim, Alhaji Collins Dauda, has sent a message through. He says, I should ask you if Shaban, which is the month that we are in now, in Saudi Arabia is different from Ghana. I believe what he's trying to say is, if the moon is sighted in Saudi Arabia or in Nigeria or in Guinea, can we in Ghana also not go ahead and observe the fast? Why do we have to wait till we see it here when it's the same?
Yeah, it has always been the case. It is true, the same Shaban, but because we are dependent on the sighting of the moon, and we have not succeeded across the world to be united on even a simple calendar. That one is a challenge for the Muslim world.
Hello, Sheikh. Sheikh, can you hear me? Where former President John Dramani Mahama is set to address Ghanaians shortly. So let's go back. Sheikh Arimi Oshaibu is back on the line. Sheikh, we lost you. Please.
I can hear you.
Yes, we lost you. And I think Elijah Kolinzada has just added some more information. He says that Saudi Arabia has said that today is the 30th day of Shaban. Yeah. And so why do we have to bother saying that today is not 30th? In Ghana, we are saying 29th. Saudi Arabia is where the religion comes from. If they say today is 30th, why are we then in Ghana saying it's 29th?
No, it is not we in Ghana. I think it's wrong to say that it's we in Ghana. There are other countries who may not start the fasting tomorrow. It is because of the workings of the lunar month and the geographical locations where we are, which makes the sighting either difficult for one country against the other. And that is why the ruling about the sighting permits countries to depend on their own sighting of the moon and be able to begin. The Islamic jurisprudence permits, because of these geographical differences, permits that a country, a Muslim community, can depend on their sighting of the moon. It is in anticipation of that if you do not sight the moon, you are given the formula to complete the counting of the days of Shaban in order that you can begin your fasting. So we do not know whether Saudi did their counting or theirs is by sighting and so on and so forth. So there could be other countries in the world where they may not begin the fasting tomorrow. So it's not Ghana alone that is taking this decision.
Very well. Where and when can people tune in to follow the news about the announcement from the Chief Imam?
Oh, like I said, the national television will be mounted at the Chief Imam's residence. As I speak to you now, we are waiting for their arrival. And then once we have done all our checks across the regions, they will mount the television and we will use that to announce to the whole of the country information about the sighting or otherwise of the moon.
So whether or not there will be fast tomorrow, the Chief Imam will make the announcement?
Oh yeah, Chief Imam will make the announcement. As usual, every year that has been the practice. Because he is the supreme Muslim leader, as we all recognize. So it is his duty, in fact, his mandate to announce to the country the sighting or otherwise of the new moon of Ramadan.
It's good you'll be using. It's good you'll be using the state media, but would you consider social media as well? Because many people will reach you through that.
Yes, our social media handlers will also work on that. We have the Sharabuki TV, which is also very close. The Baina TV will also be with us. I'm sure possibly UTV might also join us. And through all these networks, I'm sure we should be able to reach out across.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. And I should say Ramadan Karim to you.
Ramadan Mubarak.
That's Sheikh Arimi Oshaib. He speaks for the National Chief Imam. This is Eyewitness News, a segment we call Point Blank on Eyewitness News 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. We are coming to you from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. SA Auditorium, where Philip Nilati of the City News room, is on standby for that event by former President John Dramani Mahama. You're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sanda.
Has the program started?
Yes, the event has started. Former President John Dramani Mahama has entered the main auditorium on the University of Professional Studies campus together with Joshua Alabi and Sylvester Mensah and other bigwigs of the NDC to grace this occasion. And this occasion is for the former president to highlight on financing political campaigns in the Ghana We Want, a case for a more transparent and broad-based citizens' participation. The issue of political campaigning has been a very big challenge in this country, i.e., how political parties finance this campaigns with huge amounts of money, and sometimes the citizenry is unaware of where the funds were generated or the source of the funding for the campaigns. So this lecture is geared towards telling the general public how they can support political campaigns and also how this can be very transparent. So the event started with Linda Oforupapo, who is the boss of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. She's talking about the transparency and how this can also help in bridging the corruption issue in this country. So what we are expecting as of now is for the former president to mount the podium and give out his lecture.
So he's going to tell us about how political parties are financed, and then he would then ask for money himself to run his campaign, isn't it?
Exactly. So he launching his fundraising set up in a way is for the citizens to support him in the campaign, and also for the citizens to be aware of the source of his funding for one of the former president's campaign, hoping to become the president in 2025 after the 2024 elections, and also for other activities of other political parties. So as of now, we are going to have Joshua Alabi, who is mounting the podium to also give a speech before the former president, who also mounts the podium to give.
You've mentioned Linda Oforupapo there, which means you have CSO representatives there. Who else is there at this function aside the politicians? And you can also list some of the politicians who are there.
Exactly. So here we have Dr. Dominic Ayine, who is the MP for Bogatanga East. We have also James Kluche Abeji, who is the MP for Kitu North. Here we have, I mentioned Sylvester Mensah, who is the former NHIA boss, and we have Adekopa, who was a former Greater Accra NDC chairman, among others. Except here, Mensah Thompson is here, and also IDEC, the boss of IDEC, is also here. We have a lecturer from the University of Ghana. We all know Professor Ransford Jampo, who is also here. So we have the politicians, we have academia, we have students all here to witness this occasion. We can listen to Professor Joshua.
Unfortunately, Philip, we can't. The time is not on our side. But thank you. Please do record that for us, and we'll share it with our audience and viewers, listeners on radio and viewers on Citi TV in our subsequent bulletins. That's Philip Nilate reporting for us from the UPSA, where former President Mahama is set to deliver an address on political party financing and also launch his fundraiser for his campaign. But that's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Production by Beverly London, Welsin Kobna, and Nilate Late. Technical support from Daniel Squashi and new media support from Edwin Kwakofi. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. But let me just say that if you want more on the ECG discussion, catch Bernard Avle on The Point of View at 9 p.m. tonight, where he would be hosting the Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Samuel Dubik Mahama, on a litany of issues around the Electricity Company of Ghana. And also, if you want to hear some NDC discussions around the State of the Nation address that the party did through its chairman 2 days ago, You want to stay tuned in because last night on Face to Face, I interviewed Sami Jemfi, the National Communications Officer. We'll be playing that back for you shortly on radio. Thank you.